This is Volker. His job is to replace gas cars as a main way of transportation. This is because gas cars produce about 1/4 of all carbon emissions in the European Union. But how can humble old Volker go about changing the main way of transportation in many wealthy countries? And the big question being, are electric vehicles a solution to this problem? So, let's talk money first, by comparing the VW Golf, the most popular car in Germany, and the ID.3, its electric successor, which from now forth on I will use as a comparison point between electric vehicles and gas cars. As you can see in this neat chart, an electric vehicle costs about 53% more to purchase initially, but operating costs are about 10% lower. This is partially diminished by the fact that road wear and tear increases exponentially to the fourth power, meaning a vehicle with a weight of 2 tons would destroy its own road about 64 times as fast as a vehicle with a weight of 1 ton. As seen in the previous chart, the ID.3 weighs about 1.4 times as much as a normal VW Golf, which leads to it destroying its road about 4 times as fast as a Golf. To conclude the financial segment, normal gas cars are definitely a lot cheaper to buy, but are slightly more costly to operate long term. Now coming to the second and probably most important part of the whole video, are electric vehicles actually more ecologically sustainable than normal gas cars? As you can see in this chart, that unfortunately was only available in German, the emissions from constructing the vehicle in the first place make up about 50% of the whole, while the other half is mostly taken up by the emissions from the power it is using. In that scenario, an electric vehicle is slightly more efficient than its not electric counterparts. However, in an environment with completely renewable energy, it's about half as much in CO2 emissions. So these 25% alluded earlier could be cut down to 12.5%, which is a huge improvement. So while Volker realizes that electric cars are superior to gas cars in the ecological and financial aspects long term, they still have a lot of issues. As he is a perfectionist and wants the ideal results, he tries to fix the problems of electric vehicles one by one. First, he replaces the battery with an inexpensive power line, which in many cities can be directly attached to already existing structures. This will cut down the weight by about 1/6 and the price by 1/5. This is not including any additional infrastructure that is directly attached to the battery and is necessary for its function. Volker now realizes that he could decrease per passenger price and space by linking all vehicles together. He now thinks about joining all sections to one big section since all the vehicles are already linked, which further improves capacity. Since such systems need quite a bit of demand to function efficiently, he proposes to use them exclusively as large transportation hubs. Volker has also heard about that the rolling resistance of steel is a lot lower than that of cement or asphalt. He also uses steel wheels, which contact points are a lot smaller, which leads to a further reduced in friction. He also proposes a machine that uses the power of the human quadriceps and mechanical advantage to quickly get to these hubs. Volker now realizes that he's already heard of such a machine. He calls it trains and bicycles. Though he is enticed by the idea, he realizes that in some very sparsely populated areas, such high-demand systems don't work. In these areas, where electric vehicles are actually the only alternative to conventional gas cars, they would still have a useful use, but they would become a niche technology for most people, not something they use every day. So, Volker has now figured it out. He uses trains and bicycles to connect in most places in his country, and to use electric vehicles only in areas where such systems are just not viable to operate. Thank you for listening to my Explainity, I have contained my sources in an attached document.